One of the things that, it appears to me is that the longer this goes on, obviously the longer the benefit to these three individuals. That there's not a lot of incentive out there as long as you can lawyer up and have all of these hearings and these depositions, and then you give Freddie and Fannie, and actually you give the taxpayers the bill for it. Is that your observation of what's going on here? Is that this is really about, if we just keep churning here, that
Mr. Chairman, we want this case to be over. We want to be compensated. 30 million victims want to be compensated. What these defendants are doing is lawyering us to death. They are showing up with dozens of lawyers. They're drawing this out. And I think Judge Leon said it best, if I could quote. He commented on the huge expense incurred by having so many defense lawyers, saying at a June 25, 2009 hearing that, and I quote, "The lawyers are doing pretty well. I'm not so sure the taxpayers are doing pretty well, but the lawyers are doing pretty well in this deal," end of quote.
Yeah, I think the judge makes a good point there. I think the lawyers are doing well in looking at these numbers, and so what could be done to begin a process to manage these fees and make it, if they're going to continue this process? What are things that we could require or request that the conservator do to lower the cost of this process?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I think that's an excellent question. I know I'm on this side, and you're on that side. Ultimately, you're the ones who have to make this determination. But just since you asked, just maybe a comment. FIFA has a responsibility, it seems to me, to the taxpayers of this country. They have an obligation to conserve assets. They have an obligation to be concerned about what tax dollars are going out. Even if you concede, and I don't concede this, that there's an obligation to indemnify Franklin Raines, Mr. Raines, who made $91 million, and even if we don't think he has the money to handle this, and we have to put that money out front, it still seems that there are ways that FEFA could control this. How many lawyers do you really need? How many expert witnesses do you really need? Now, it is not Judge Leon's job to tell the defense that they cannot bring more lawyers to the table. The scene, if I could describe the scene, is an amazing scene. You have in Judge Leon's courtroom with these fairly routine hearings, pretrial conferences, you have a couple lawyers for each who are sitting at the table, and then you can have a whole room full of the rest of the lawyers who are out there for the defense, all on billable hours, all not doing anything maybe but charging for thinking. So FAFA has an obligation, it seems to me, to bring some reasonableness to this, some common sense to this, cut down on the number of lawyers, control the number of expert witnesses. Even if we believe that all these defendants are entitled to lawyers, somebody might be entitled to a lawyer, and I guess they can have as many lawyers as they want, but they're not entitled to have someone else pay for it.
So have y'all requested a trial date?
We don't have a trial date. Judge...
but have you requested,
We want to move forward on this as quickly as we can. We are now in the second phase of the depositions. We are in the depositions for the expert witnesses. And again, if I could explain, the problem is when the other side comes up with 25 expert witnesses, and Judge Leon described it pretty well about these expert witnesses. Let me read what he said about these expert witnesses, because having 25 expert witnesses that have to be deposed over a period of time slows the process of the case. At a June 14th, 2010 hearing, Judge Leon said there's absolutely no way that so many experts will ultimately actually testify at court, admonishing Fannie Mae defendants, and I quote, "So you don't need to have 5 experts say the same damn thing. If one good one says it the right way from your perspective, that's going to be more than enough. You don't need 5 to say it. It's not a Me Too operation. So bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. The costs are just staggering." End of quote.
Thank you. Mr. Capiano.